Vagabonds. Don't know nothing about anything. I'll just stack the beans.
He's got black rice on his hands and he notices.
Did you just do a fluff and sniff it? I'm suffering.
Yeah, that's
on the front lines of privilege.
Kings.
Vagabonds.
Welcome to Kings and Vagabonds.
After support work, I've got a real intolerance to naughty
Poor people.
To the pores. I don't like them.
Me too.
I don't like them. And like
So's trying to make me watch them on TV. I'm like, why?
Yeah, I don't like it at all. I don't like it. I see like a crackhead and like we've always been pretty intolerant of people at like traffic lights being like, I'm down on my luck. And I'm like, I don't believe you. I'm so skeptical to people with disabilities and just being poor and drug addicted. I'm like, I think it's all a myth.
I was thinking you said
It's a mind over
the
matter.
guy with a head injury is like, he lacks discipline. Is his problem.
That's it. He can pick it up. He could just figure shit out.
Playing Akira the Don at him as you walk up in the morning.
No, but how bad is it when you see those guys at the traffic lights and they're like, have you got any, whatever? And then you look down and they've got these really new trainers on.
Yeah.
You're like, mate, get fucked.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
John says they all have fucking bracelets. These great bracelets.
I've got a lovely bracelet on. So fuck, what is the amethyst? Fuck.
It's got some
Not yet, love.
The
Not
full
yet.
Pandora charm collection. He's like, I'm real down on my luck,
Yeah,
bro.
that shit's worth a fortune. Come to see me in a couple of months. You sold that off and put that up your nose or whatever. Now I'm being judgmental.
Now you are being
Well, let me
awful.
go further by saying I see them now and I'm real like,
I'll run them over.
fuck off. I just feel like, yuck, cunt.
Yuck.
I do. I'm real like, it's made me worse. Support
Yeah.
work's made me worse.
Has it? Yeah.
And not for the sweet disabilities, because there are some like the ones that are like
Nice ones.
the intellectual disabilities and like the physical one where they're still, sweet. But the ones where they're just deeply, entrenched in
missing legs and shit.
anger.
I don't tolerate that.
Yeah, I don't like that at all because I'm a big fan of hopscotch and you need to be able to complete it to be on me good side. No, I just, there's I understand. I can empathize completely with people who are fucking getting ruined by life and they end up in a bad spot, but get away from the traffic lights. That's all I ask.
Yeah, that's not where to.
Just take it to the shadows.
Yeah. Put it
Take it to the shadows. I don't want to see it out in life, Stop penetrating my sanctuary of awesomeness, as I've said. We're here with David Hughes, disability advocate and writer, stand-up comedian. This has been a long time coming, David. Thanks for doing it, man.
Thanks for having me. Sorry for
We've been talking about doing
being
it for
late
ages,
as well.
haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right.
That's absolutely fine. You're a writer, so I mean, we didn't expect tardiness. You know what I mean?
So writer, first horse semen extractor.
Yeah, I was a
Person.
horse wanker for a bit.
That
Did I
was-
say that?
that's impossible. Are you serious?
Fucking right, yeah.
You wanked off horses?
Yeah.
No. Did you
don't
have
think-
the fake little like fleshlight pussy, the horse pussy?
No,
inside?
I had
it's
a
like a
real
clarinet
man's
case.
pussy and I had to do it.
It was a real man's pussy.
Use
Did you
my
say?
actual. I had to use my own pussy.
I'm picturing David just like putting his shaved ass, tempting a horse, and then like, quick!
I didn't
Swap
shave
it.
I didn't shave
You
like
didn't
that.
shave it,
No,
because horses, they don't judge.
They don't care. They're just straight in
Not
there.
bothered, yeah. They've got that sort of hair that it's easy to clean off as well. It's like there's not going to be mad tangles and knots or anything. It's short hair in it. It's
They've got
Blake's hair.
no. It's more about like my arsehole
Oh,
hair,
your
but they've got the
business.
plunger that gets right in there.
Right.
The plunger.
Plunger.
You ever seen it? Ridiculous.
I haven't.
What, an horse plunger?
Oh, yeah, horse dick.
Oh, on its dick?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like really big man
Yeah,
dick.
huge.
It is, but it sort of like flares out at the end as
Does
well.
it?
Yeah.
Flares out.
Yeah.
Holy crap, it's like a firework.
It's
Right.
like a
Rather than
bell.
having a helmet, it has like an inverse helmet type of shape? Is it
no.
like plunger shaped?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Because
it's
a plunger's sort of like you've just swapped the helmet of a penis the other way around, isn't it?
That's very true.
In a sense.
It's a little bit like that.
Do
Actually.
they have foreskins? Horses?
Yeah. Yes.
They do.
Yeah.
What about like?
Well, actually, no,
what
hold
about
on,
like a
hold
horse
on.
named Jebediah or something?
I don't have a foreskin, so I'm not very familiar with this game.
Okay.
But they've got like a sheath or whatever.
I think
That's not.
Is that what a foreskin is?
Is that a
though?
foreskin?
Yeah, it's a dick sheath for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, then yes.
Okay,
They
they've
do.
got one.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
good
have
on
to
them.
roll it back when you do the thing.
No,
that makes
no,
it
it's
easier for
ages.
wanking.
It
huh?
bursts out.
Yeah.
It bursts forth.
You bring
Oh, it rolls itself out.
Yeah.
you bring a lady female horse out and then show it to them and they're like, oh, I get to smash that. And then they get all excited about it. And then you go, no, you're going to come in this. And then you put a clarinet case up to their dick and let them hump that for a minute. And then it's like,
Wow.
Fucking
And
mad.
how much volume do they come?
it's a lot.
Is it real?
It's a lot, yeah.
Like if you could like how many handfuls you reckon?
was like 4 mouthfuls.
That's a lot of cum.
That's a lot of cum.
So you,
crazy.
and are you only getting the cum from like good ones? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you have to, they have to be selected, or you don't want like
stallions.
Stallion. No, of course.
For breeding race
male
horses,
horse.
isn't it?
No, but they're like so it was a breeding farm, and they had like some horses that were worth like, you know, $400,000-$500,000.
Whoa.
But their semen was worth a shitload too. But they would breed them with selective mares, so the bloodlines were like
Pure.
people were buying them before they were even born. Yeah, loyal bloodlines.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Hitler was trying to do as well, wasn't it?
It is,
That's related to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had loads of horses.
He's constantly trying to breed horses.
He just took it too
liked
far,
how they
didn't he?
marched. He had
He was just a horse breeder gone too far. Was Hitler? My goodness.
I was trying to find a video for you guys, so I put in horse ejaculation into Google, and one of the things that people also ask is,
now I've been banned from the internet.
what would happen if a horse came in a woman?
Yeah.
That's the first
What would
question
happen?
someone's asked.
If you Google horse cum mouth video, it's me.
Horse cum mouth video. But it's only in
He
that.
wasn't a writer then.
So you're wanking off horses, and then like, what? How do you transition into writing? Do you think like
I just started writing horse erotica, and then I was like, "Fucking, this is it. I'm in now."
horse erotica?
50 Shades of Nay.
Come on, bitch! It's flawless, flawless. 50 Shades of Nay.
Tacking.
Hell.
That's gorgeous.
You don't need that.
But so you're doing that just as a
Got it,
job
Papa.
to pay the bills, and then
No, I was doing that for fun. I wasn't getting paid.
as a passion project.
What's that? It's his weird hobby.
I just drove past a field one day. I was like, "Fucking getting in there."
What's the job?
I wasn't
He
even
invented
being
this
paid.
occupation.
As far as I'm aware, there's no job called horse wanker. That was just a passion of mine.
Wasn't much to do when he first arrived in Perth.
I can picture the farmer just being like, "Daddy's back again." He's like, "Get the gun!" Just chasing him off,
Legging it through the field, running in diagonals because he's learned it.
Oh, it's love, Barry.
Carrying buckets load of cum.
Oh my god! So, did you always want to do writing at some point though? Like, did you always? It's so hard to transition.
Get that back on track.
I know.
You're doing so well as well.
It can't be done.
Like, how do we move away from this?
Bucket loads of cum. So your dream as a child was that always to write?
I was wanking off horses for rural work. You know, you get the working holiday visa.
Oh, that was your farm work.
Yeah, it was my farm work.
Holy
Some
shit!
people get fruit picking.
Yeah, I got ball picking.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I was writing at that point. I just wasn't making any money from it.
What were you writing? Like, I mean, obviously horse erotica, but on top of that, were you writing just like?
I was just writing about the travels.
Oh, okay.
It started out as journals, didn't it?
Yeah, it started out as journals on like a WordPress thing that my sister set up for me because I was useless. I used to put them on. Do you remember Facebook had that note section? You could write notes.
Oh yeah.
This is like 400 years ago or something. So I used to write them there just for friends that would read them back home. And then my sister was like, "You should put them on a blog." And I was like, "Yeah, what's a blog?" So she did it, and then I just started uploading everything to there, and it started getting a lot of traffic and stuff. So then I got a publisher saying, "If you take it down, we'll publish it." So we did that.
Oh, okay. So they say you obviously just
Can't be
publish
in
it
the
through
public
us.
domain. Yeah, it can't be in a public domain and be something that you try to sell.
Yeah,
So
of course.
Yeah.
I said, take it down, edit it, make it more obviously like flowing and stuff, and we'll publish it as a book.
And what year was this?
Yeah, good question.
Was it true? There's a couple of them.
There's 5 all up, but of the travel ones, there's 3. This was like 2010, I think.
Okay.
That was sneaky slide. That was good.
Yeah, trying to open a can just very subtly. Don't let me interrupt you. But so 2010, you sort of like, so you get your first writing job from there. How did you two meet? Because I know that you were following David online.
Yeah.
And you just sort of messaged him that you were a fan of his like online comedy.
It wasn't even that. I didn't even consider him approachable.
I think I messaged you, didn't I?
You
Because I
messaged
remember
me, yeah.
I kept seeing you pop up, not in that stalkery
I
kind
used
of
to
way.
share
but
all your shit.
Yeah. So and I noticed it, and then
But I thought I had a special line on great English tweet maker thing. I didn't know. I hadn't realised quite how big that was, sort of all over the place. But I could tell that there was an Englishness
yeah.
in there. and thought people fucking loved it, and just
But I remember
kept
seeing
sharing
you,
it.
and then I went to like YouTube and found like clips of you in
A really old video of me.
in a tracksuit,
Yeah.
doing jokes. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy's really funny.
Oh,
And
it
then-
wasn't though. That video fucking haunts me.
Still quite funny.
It was like early, like 2011 stand-up of mine.
Right.
So then he messages me, right? He'd followed me back about a week
I
before.
said, how old is too old to have a bath with your dad?
Yeah. Which I knew you could only have gotten from that video because we'd never met, which is one
Was
of
that
my
one of your old bits?
One of my old bits. I didn't just I stopped doing it. Johnny McAllister made me stop doing it.
Which is annoying because it's really funny.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
genuinely fucking funny.
Punchline, I didn't really know how to construct it, but I just thought it was a funny idea. You just put what?
Yeah, I'm not good at drinking that bottle.
He's so excited about
so I
this dad
did.
bath bit.
It had something. I said something along the lines of, "It's whatever age you get when your man boobs begin to cause your father some sort of confused arousal." Something like that. It's really open micy shit. Like I was just trying to be gross to try and get a laugh, you know?
Hell yeah.
I actually brought it back much later with a better punchline.
Was it the button?
No, it was around that time because I was doing a daughter thing then.
Yeah.
And then I would lead onto it and I would go, actually, at what point is it stop being okay to have a bath with your dad? Because I think it's like a really pure, lovely
That's right, yeah.
bonding experience, but he's sick of it,
Yeah.
right?
That's
Do you know what I
funny,
mean?
that's funny.
wheel out and it's into my
Yeah,
dad.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which
that's
is a much
more-
cleverer
yeah,
little
that's
thing because
cleaner.
it goes on the end of a heap of parenting
And then you're
stuff that I
like,
just
and
did.
God, does he get hard?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
People are like,
we fuck a bunch. We fuck a bunch.
that's a funny one.
Well,
Comes like a
McAllister goes to me, don't do that bit about the bath with your dad. Wasn't it? So I had like 6 minutes. He was like, that was 2 of them. You know, don't do that bit about having a bath with your dad, will you? I was, why do they like it? He goes, yeah, I know. I don't really like it. Because why not? He goes,
I tell you what, it's making
I'll be honest
baths
with
with
you,
my
John.
sons much more complicated.
he goes, I'll be honest with you, John. I don't like to think of you with tits.
That was his issue.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah,
that makes
he's
one of us,
disgusted
'cause-
by me.
That makes one of us because you with tits is my fucking dream.
Well, you came in too late to this friendship. I used to have bazongas. Baby.
Yeah, I tell you what, if you had just a pair of big bolt-ons,
They were
George would be a
bonkers.
thing of the past,
I
my
would
boy.
have fully let you feel them up as well.
Oh, man, I can't believe it.
Because it was never a particularly manly chest. They were quite. They weren't bad boobs.
They weren't bad titties.
Big titties,
Yeah,
but they were
decent.
smooth.
Bit of handful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could have just sucked them one time. Wish I could have just got like one little mouthful. That's all I want. Just one. But
One of these days, Blake,
Yeah.
I'll grow them back out for you.
that'd be so nice. I'm sucking them. I'm like, this is real yuck.
This is horrible. This is not what
I'm worried about you, John. Looking up like a baby from the tit. I'm worried about you, John.
I'm like, do you still like it? Yeah.
It's not as good as I
Not
thought.
as good as I thought it was going
But let's finish up. Anyways, sorry about that riff.
That's all right. I got really weird.
So when you were writing,
So as a child writing, dreaming of the big deals.
dick.
So you're doing like a travel blog. So it's almost started like innocently. You're like, oh, I'll just fucking document my thoughts. Why not? And then naturally you start to get some momentum. And then at what point do you transition into like, I'm going to write for a job?
When someone offered to pay me to do it, basically.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
well, you knocked a couple of books out as well, didn't you? You did those and you did
I
the
did
Bible
those,
for
but-
breakfast.
Yeah. And
Did they come after that?
they came
Or during?
The Bible for breakfast, I think, came first. Yeah, I
That's
think
very
that
funny.
came first, and then I did the travel. No, actually, the travel was the first thing that got commissioned. So yeah, no, I did those first. Then I did the Bible for breakfast, and then I did the last one, which was
Once upon a time,
ages ago. In that, yeah,
Yeah.
I wrote that when
Probably
Oscar
great
was born.
title.
But yeah, no, as soon as, like, so there were the books, but then after that, it was, I think the first big one was a company called The Dad. And they were just like, they wrote a feature on me. And then I said, oh, can I have a look at it in, like, for editing purposes and stuff? And they were like, yeah. And then we just got talking back and forth. And then before I know it, they were like, do you want like a writing position here?
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, I would quite like that. Because this was like before COVID and before they all started getting quite scared of, money being pulled and funds and stuff being pulled. Right. And they were they were paying me like a weekly retainer fee in American money too, which was almost as much as I was used to getting paid for doing like a regular job. That was just the retainer fee. And then they would pay for every joke individually, and they were just tweets. Wow. So they would just pay me like per tweet basically.
Yeah. And it didn't have to be like if I laugh, you get paid. It was like, that's a joke.
How do you mean? Sorry.
Like, as in, like, did they have to find them particularly hilarious, or did you just send them in jokes and they're like, "That's a joke, good"?
Yeah, but I mean, they trust the writers.
Yeah,
really.
Of course, right. Once you docked it in,
pretty much. I mean, they went through an editing process, but that was usually just to make sure that everything was like on brand and on voice.
Yeah,
and you weren't talking about like with them, it was like no sex, death, like that kind of shit. So.
Yeah, there was only 2 or 3 banging joke writers on the Dad as well. There was like a bunch of joke writers, but there was like maybe 2 or 3 of
Most of them were just doing the cheeky rewording shit that they've seen elsewhere.
Rewording your shit from other stuff.
Which is why there was no like real like future in it. Like if they'd have just kept it really pure and just had maybe like 4 or 5 staff writers instead of having about 20 of us.
Yeah.
Like, but the others to keep up would literally just troll the internet and find stuff and then just kind of like, you know, go, oh, how can I make this more in the Dad's voice than the voice of the person who fucking wrote it? Yeah. It's pretty grim.
See, that's really hard. Writing in a voice is one thing that I think that you deserve credit for that I had not really considered till lately. I took on a writing job, my first writing job that I've ever done, writing for a sports guy, helping him write a speech, just punching up a speech.
Well, recently?
Yeah, during Fringe. And I had like a mad deadline because the speech he had to like learn the jokes in it, rehearse them and stuff and be happy and ready to go.
What was it, like a 30-page keynote speech or something, wasn't it?
Fucking lot of stories and stuff, and about cricket as well, which I know fuck all about, right? So
dreadful.
But because we'd been talking about, David writes on the project as well now, and we were riffing on these different subjects and stuff, and some of the jokes that we came up with were the same joke.
Oh wow, okay.
And he goes, "You could probably do that. You do that, Sam." But I'm terrified of writing because I don't feel very good at it. I'm not good at it. I'm undisciplined. If I can't let go of a thing and go, yeah, there's a joke for you, if it is not up to how I would want it to be if I said it, and I can't write in anybody else's voice but mine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we never reached that point of trusting that more will come.
Yeah.
We're like, that's mine and I can't let go of it. I'll milk it for 10 years.
I think
I ended up taking it on and pushed through, and it turned out nice.
Yeah.
But it was, that was the biggest struggle, was to write in a voice that's not mine.
Yeah.
I think it was probably more to write in an area that you're not comfortable with. You could probably write for somebody, you could probably write in somebody's voice if it was on a topic that you were like really passionate about. Which is why like the Dad really worked for me. It was like Oscar was only like 2 or 3 years old at the time, so that was like my entire fucking world. It was my whole thing.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, look, there's some things that I struggle with when I do like have I got news for you? I have to dial back into British politics and British news to be like, all right, I've got to fucking pay attention to what's going on. I thought Boris was still in. Do you know what I mean? Like that, because I don't care. Yeah. I don't care about it at all. So, but you can still make stuff, existing stuff especially, you can still make that funny.
Yeah.
But I think more the thing that when I said that to you, like, oh, you could, I don't think I even said probably, I'm convinced you could do it. It's more the sort of, I guess just the demand, like knowing that you have to do it by a certain time. I think that's where.
Was there a point where you got like, have you ever turned a writing job away and been like, nah, it's out of my league, I can't do that?
Out of my league, no. Out of my interest zone, yeah. Like something.
I like that.
No, because I don't.
Moved.
I like it.
I don't think. I don't think there's anything that is so demanding. Like some of these jobs are very, very easy. I actually did. I found myself finding. I was being a bit of a hypocrite recently. I think I told you about this job that I'm doing.
Yeah.
This new job that I took on. So I started on Monday, and there was a ton of stuff about it that I was just like, I fucking hate this. Like, there's so much, like, you know, behind the scenes stuff, and you got
all your
all
apps
these, lots of channels for accountability and tracking stuff. And I was like, I'm not used to doing it. I'm used to somebody going like, this is what we have to do today. Like the show goes to air at 5 or 6 or whatever, so we have to have it all done, ready for record at like maybe 3. Done. That's the whole job, and I just make sure it's in by that time. I'm not having people tap me on the shoulder every 5 seconds and going, hey, and can you do this? And hey, and what about this? And like that drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
But all up, I've probably worked for about 40 minutes a day since Monday.
Right.
I'm like, and I'm complaining about it too. I even said to Kate, because she was like, how's work? I was like, it's fucked. Like I've had to do loads today.
Back aches.
This is the thing. I was like, I've had to do loads because they started adding like more stuff on, and she was like, did you think you were going to work like 10 minutes a day ongoing, like in this job? And I was like, look, yeah, kind of.
To which I said, I don't like her tone. One bit,
What
dude.
are you trying to say, Kate?
Yeah, what the hell are you saying right now? That I should do more than 10? I don't know who you think you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such an interesting like career path to me, because it's not something I ever considered as sort of freelance writing and taking on these jobs that come up in all these different types of industries, right? I mean, like, I hope you don't mind me saying, but like this one's like a video game industry, and then there's like just so many. There's like more comedy-based industries, and there's all these different things. And it's something that occurred to me, which is so funny, is that like the business world needs the creative arts and humor in order to fucking not kill themselves with whatever mundane shit they're pushing, right?
And also, almost nothing engages people on social media like humor does.
Yes. And what I think is so funny about it and interesting is that there's this whole career path that you're sort of tapped into, which like corporate wealthy people need humorists to come in and be like, oh, I can make this palatable and human and relatable and not like a fucking robot said it. And I just think it's cool. I just think it's cool that they're just like, how much to do this thing that we cannot do? Like, we have not considered the human element of this as to how to land this. And that's sort of what you're tapping into. It's cool.
And it's funny because people have like tried to move away from it. Like I've lost work to people using AI, and then those people just come straight back and went, oh, turns out it can't do fucking anything. Yeah. Unless you can, feed it every little thing that it needs. You literally have to be a good enough writer to feed this model.
Like
so
that Black Mirror episode where she gets her boyfriend back from the dead, but he ain't proper.
It's exactly like that. And it's also like Bandersnatch. Did you watch Bandersnatch?
I didn't watch Bandersnatch, but I like saying Bandersnatch.
It's a fucking great word, isn't it?
Was that the interactive Black Mirror movie?
It was the interactive episode that no matter what you did, you still got the same outcome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like maybe one or two scenes
That's what my
that would
life's
change.
like.
Oh, heavens. Oh, boy. Whoa, betrayed.
I'm still trying to shake the image of you sucking on his tits.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I'm
you're trying to
fucking...
shake it.
I'll never stop thinking about that.
I'm going to keep shaking it.
So you've tapped into this whole thing, and like you do it now and you bounce from job to job. You're not writing for the dad anymore. You're writing for the project. I mean, one thing that I've experienced is that when you take on all these different jobs, or these different sort of energy systems, if you will, like if there's things that require a different type of energy, I know it's all writing, but things require a different way of thinking if it's a different job.
Yeah, for sure.
That comes with its own type of fatigue. It's not just a matter of like how many hours I'm working. It's like how many different versions of myself do I need to be? Can be quite tiring,
Yeah, that's interesting.
And do you feel that? Because it's like...
I only feel that when I look at you.
Right.
When I look at what you do. No,
yeah,
because like with, like acting and the fight stuff, and then actually fighting as well. So you got to call in the fights, fighting yourself, comedy, this, like you do so much that, that baffles, just blows my mind. But for me, it's literally just writing on different topics. It'd be like if I don't know, gave John 8 topics and said, do a set on these different 8 topics. Like you'd find a way to do it because it's just comedy.
I'd give you a
you wouldn't
stuff
actually,
on one topic.
Actually, I'd come round to your house
and it wouldn't have
you'd
been
complain
any of the
for half an
topics.
hour.
It wouldn't be any of the topics you'd given me. Yeah, I'd have a tantrum.
I'd gaslight you into thinking you only need one topic.
But that's what I meant about the hypocrisy though earlier. I was getting to, I started this new job and I was doing exactly what you were doing.
Yeah, have a little tanty.
Yeah, I had a proper tanty and I did that thing where I literally had to say to myself,
cricket's not funny.
Yeah, I was like, get out of your own way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to, don't you?
Yeah, and I was because I was just like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm not entering a field into a little.
And then you start getting into this weird because it's calling you out on things that you don't feel good at. You start going, this shit's beneath me. This is not. Do you know what I mean? You try and arrogant it out. It's like, this is small time shit. Fuck this stupid.
Devalue the thing you're not good at. I like that a lot.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It's my favorite quality.
But then it was like, I pushed through a little bit and then I was like, right, I think it was the moment that I said, okay, I'm going to take the job on. what's the deadline? They gave me the deadline as it worked out, because I was like, I had fringe shows come in. And I was like, well, I'm not thinking about it on those days when I'm doing those shows. I'm thinking about my show. So that leaves me about 48 hours to get this done. So I'm just going to do it. And I just sat there and I just painstakingly with each little thing went, how do I make that funnier? Now, how do I make that funnier? Now, fuck, it took a long time.
Really?
Self was like, you've been on that for hours.
But you got it done?
What day is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it done.
Yeah, for sure.
But it definitely was a whole ass tanty early on.
So when I have to
Big
do stuff like
tantrum.
that, I'll read like 3 of them and then I'll just fuck off and do something else. I'll just go to the gym or go for a walk or something and then I'll think about them. Because when I'm thinking about it,
that's great.
funny stuff will happen when I'm thinking about it, especially if it's that fucking mundane and boring.
Right.
Yes. That's what I wanted to know. I wanted to get into sort of some of the techniques in which you have found over your writing times for different clients, different types of voices, if you will, like what you kind of have to avoid or whatnot. What do you do to sort of... Yeah. What do you do to like push through the lack of discipline? Like you just said, you'll read through something and then you're like, time to do something else, and then let the brain flow and digest it.
Yeah, there's a lot of trust that goes into that though.
Right, yeah.
But that is probably my biggest one. And I started doing it when I was writing on Mock the Week, but they were always for comedians that I was really familiar with. There's probably one time I had to do one for somebody that I wasn't overly familiar with, but I still knew his voice. So with the guys that I do know really well though, I would get the brief and I would read through it and then it just starts coming straight away. It's, again, if it was somebody that you really liked and you were really familiar with.
Yeah, I feel like I could write for John.
Exactly. So you picture stuff coming as you like read the brief of what we're doing topics on. And I go like, oh, actually, no, I can see that. I can see that. So if I have them there and then, I will just like write them down, but I'll still fuck off and come back because that's just first draft nonsense. But a lot of it for me is, I don't even think about it in the context of like, how do I make this funny? I'll just read it, consume it, and then, like I said, I'll just go away and think about something else. That seems to work the best for me.
Yeah, that's
you just
cool.
let it sort of fester in there.
Yeah, but it's having the, like, trusting yourself enough to come back and finish it and do it. And then, and also being able to do it within a certain sort of time frame. Because I always like to do everything early. I think I always felt like a proper imposter.
Except turning up to podcasts.
Except turning up to podcasts.
Yeah, fucking.
But I always felt like a proper imposter with this stuff. So I was like, how do I add value to what I'm giving them on top of what everyone else will be? Like if they've got writers in this, if there's 10 other writers in this room, how do I stand out? And for me, it's always just do it before everyone else and give them more as well. Yeah. So if someone wants like 10 jokes on something, I'll write 15 minimum. And if the deadline's Wednesday, I'll make sure I get in on Monday. Because I was always like, well, then the editors see all my stuff first as well. So chances are they'll probably use more of my stuff as well.
Yeah. That is good. Fuck, it's just discipline, really, isn't it? You just got to fucking do it.
Yeah,
Imagine
like having that attitude at school, how well you do.
I know.
I would just be like, all of that's too hard. Yucky.
Instead of one essay, I'm gonna write 3.
Of that.
Imagine.
I don't want to sidebar and distract ourselves too much, but do you guys ever have dreams that you feel like you haven't done schoolwork in ages and it's due? Do you guys ever have that?
No.
You don't have that anymore?
I think we're probably not capable because of the memory is just not. That was like 800 years ago for us.
Oh, right. Do you have that about that?
Yeah, I'm always running away from communist governments.
In your dreams?
Yeah.
You're always like, Cuba is after me.
Usually China.
Usually it's China.
Do you know what I want to take issue with is that those people who say like, why is it you never see your mobile phone in your dream? I see it all the time. Have you seen people?
You see your phone a lot in your dream?
It's always fucking around
most
somewhere.
Most of your dreams is you watch your dream on an Instagram story.
I'm watching my dream on a reel.
People, I did not know people say that.
There's this like popular thing. I don't know if it's one of those conspiracy things, or whatever, but I keep seeing reels. Actually, I see the reels in my dream. Never mind.
Do you keep seeing
No, I don't. Someone mentioned it again to me the other day, and I was like, "That's not true."
Yeah, all your dreams has got the interstellar score in them. You know?
I don't like people who
still like all my dreams.
Just like fucking double click them. I don't like people who make grand. They say questions they think have depth, but it's like, where is this going? Like,
that's what I thought. That's what I feel about that one.
That's what I mean. It's like, how come you never see mobile phones in your dream? And you're like, what?
So what does that mean?
What does that mean to you? You're like, just food for thought, cunt. You're like, wow, this guy's deep. You know what I mean? I don't like that at all.
No.
So don't do it, people, because I don't like it. When you're writing for other people though, like, does that fucking pull? Does like writing for yourself? Does it affect that? Are you fatigued when it comes to writing? Like, it's time to write some shit for me. And then you're like,
That's
I'm
the fun
tired.
part though, isn't it?
That is the
That's
fun part. Because you have all these restrictions on you, like don't make jokes about the apartheid.
Really, some of the apartheid. Some of it's not even restrictions. Some of it is just knowing that coming from a certain person, that thing that I want to say will sound really odd and jarring. And if you have to write for, like, it's hard like naming people, but if you have to write for a certain person and then he's obviously got a massive fan base and people know what he's supposed to sound like, and then you suddenly start talking about, I don't know, like video games or football or something, and they'll be like, what the fuck? What's that now?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, everything has to be congruent with the type of voice that he has anyway.
So it actually fuels you a little bit because you're kind of starving for like, I want to do some shit that I'm not allowed to. Well, I don't.
Or just don't, you're not restricted in any way.
Yes. Yes. So why don't you do
doing
more racism in your jokes?
I did. I think that's why I went so badly yesterday, because I said the N-word like 8 times.
Yeah, no, that got him.
Yeah.
It's when you stopped using the N-word in Rockingham, they were like, go back to the stuff you were doing before. It was beautiful.
We love that punchline. Keep doing that one.
Save any bit the N-word and let that be a bit of advice to young up-and-coming comics
from Rockingham
in the scene. Yeah, well, that's good to know. I mean, I guess when all the techniques fail and but you have a deadline, do you think that what do you think most writers fail with? Like, what's the most common complaint you hear for writers? Yeah, what the fuck is writer? Like, what?
No,
what,
it's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
It's not a thing.
What is it? Seinfeld says this. I think only autistic people believe it.
What, writer's block?
Believe that it's not a thing.
No.
I think it's a thing. I think it's just fear of fucking it up.
No, I think it's just you're not happy with the thing that you've done. Just keep fucking doing it. It's not like something is literally blocking you from writing stuff down.
Yeah.
So if you just keep doing it until you get the thing right. So I do think it's like a lack of discipline. Like if you go, I can't fucking write anything on this particular subject. Like there's no way you've tried everything. It's impossible.
Yes.
So just keep trying until you find something that sparks and goes, actually that's the thing that I need to be tapping into.
What about the value? Is there a value in also realizing that not everything needs to work? Do you know what I mean? Like, as in, what I'm noticing with my comedy writing is that I would sort of attach to every idea that I had to make it work.
Yeah.
And then there would be some points where I'm like, this could be all right. And then I'll go and I'll kind of put my due diligence in it. I'll write a couple of versions of it. I'll try it on stage. And if I sort of just get to a point where I'm like, I don't think I'm at this point yet, I'll just put it aside. Maybe in a few years' time.
Works. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. So it's like, maybe my charisma will carry this through. Maybe it won't.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah, I think that's part of that as well. It's that having that trust in yourself to just keep fucking plugging at it. Like, everything doesn't have to work. Everything's not going to be gold, is it? Yes. Every idea you have is not going to be great.
Right.
Unless you're me.
Right.
And all of the ideas will be fantastic.
WRIT.
Do you see what he did there?
That's what I wanted to say is, right. Just fucking right.
You just wrote a one-word joke.
You loser. What do you guys think on the thought of like... What do you guys think about... Right. It hit me. Just right, Mikey. Porn. What do you guys think of the idea when people are like, I'm just not creative? I don't think that's a thing. I think everyone is creative, but I think it's a muscle. I think it's like it's like a belief system. You're like, I'm not creative, so you never kind of follow through with the thought. But I think everyone, if you just put the reps into thinking in a certain way, can be creative.
100%, yeah.
You know, it's not like an athletic thing. I believe when people are like, I'm not athletic. I'm like, no, look at you, you're fucking pathetic, cunt.
But if they had always been active, then they would be athletic.
That's very true. So I just think it's like, I don't know. What do you like?
No, I think it's exactly that. I think it's like if you do it, you'll be it eventually. Do you know what I mean? Like there's probably most sports that I could try. Well, not now. I'm old as fuck, but earlier on, if I'd have started boxing or something when I was like 22, I'd be a boxer, wouldn't I?
Yes, and I think people focus too much on the rare exceptions of these like genetic freaks. You know, and we're talking about sport here, but it's like, you know, there is such a thing as talent, but I think talent a lot of the time is just people who have naturally done the reps without even knowing.
It's got to be, and it's got to be an equation, hasn't it? It's got to be the right inclination to want to do the reps in that particular thing. It's one of the things that always bugged me about people talking about when I would be drawing at school if I was sketching something. They'd be like, fucking hell, you can just do that. It's like, no, I can't just do that. I draw this same thing every day.
Yeah.
I draw an eyeball fucking every day. I got nothing else going for me. I just draw this
You think I
fucking
want to
eyeball.
draw the eyeball?
I haven't touched my fucking project. I just draw this eyeball.
Yeah, I'm in fucking agony right now. They're like, God, you're good at eyeballs.
All I got is this eyeball.
Do you see how empty this eyeball is? Like, there's
See,
no
there's a
soul
tear.
in it. Yeah.
Look at this, there's a tear.
Yeah, they zoom out the photo, the drawings of
my
you
ball.
crying. They're like, God, you're good at eyeballs, John. No one listens to
I'm
you.
trying to draw me in pain, but I keep fucking that eye up.
You're a talented
and I'm going
eyeball.
to get it right.
I think
I
that
mean, it's that though. It's reps
Yes.
plus the inclination to like something's got to bug you enough that you won't put it down. It's like playing
Or inspire
guitar.
you enough.
Or inspire you enough.
But then that's where the reps come from, isn't it?
Yeah, because like somebody was talking about it the other day with playing guitar, and I got a mate who feels like he should because he wants to learn the guitar. He feels like he should play it. He's like, "Fuck, I've got to make more time for playing guitar." It's like that's not the way to go about it.
yes.
Like you shouldn't play guitar. Sounds like it's a fucking ball ache to you.
I used to be like that with reading. Like you'd be like, I don't read
Yeah, I
in my
say this
spare
to Sol.
time.
She's like, I can't seem to read a book. It's like, don't read a fucking book then.
Yeah, of course. You're like, but I should, in my downtime, be bettering myself. And you can get like better in your self-fatigue. Do you think, Dave?
I think that you don't need to better yourself by reading books. I definitely believe that.
You don't, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I get, but you'll admit there's a massive snobbery around reading books. Like
For sure.
You can listen to it. Just fucking listen to it. If you can't sit there and read, just get on the treadmill and listen to it instead. Isn't that the same thing? You're still taking in information. You probably remember it more.
You can read a book in quotes, I believe. I've read, people go, you read this book? Yeah, I've read that book. I read quotes from it on Goodreads.
And you got, and,
That's where all the important shit goes.
and you took it all in.
Anything else doesn't, if it was important enough, it would be in the Goodreads. Somebody would have fucking highlighted that shit and put it in Goodreads.
But
Guys are killing me.
Sorry, what do you mean though? Like a fatigue of? Did you say a fatigue in bettering?
Yeah,
yourself,
bettering
or-
yourself. I mean, look, for me, sometimes I feel fatigued of being like, I call it being too tactical. It's like you're trying to think efficiently all the time.
Oh,
you're trying to think,
okay,
how am I best spending my energy? Like, oh no, that's not productive. I don't want to sit down and play a video game because that's not productive. I should be doing something to better myself. I should be, at the
Yeah.
gym exercising or
I try and
getting
50-50
smarter.
that. I always try and 50-50 it.
How do you mean?
Like, yeah, there is no real value in sitting down and playing Call of Duty for a bit, but it's fun. So I'm going to do it for a little bit.
And it charges you up to make you more efficient on something else.
It doesn't make me more efficient. It's just like, well, everything can't be to get a result or whatever. Like, some things just have to be because you just want to do them.
Yes.
That's this.
Right, yeah.
That's pretty good because nobody that you speak to says I'd go 50-50 on that shit. Everybody's a life coach that's like, it's the 80-20 rule.
Yeah, but they're lying.
Do you know what I mean?
They're lying.
95% of the time you're improving and 5% of the time you're asleep.
They're definitely lying. 'Cause
Yeah, you're like
they spend
50-50.
time asleep.
Yeah, because if I speak to you, you're either writing, doing a shit at the gym, or in bed.
Yeah.
Sometimes all three. You said 4 things though. Fucking hell. Had a couple of these, haven't I?
When you're gonna
Had a couple of little drinky boos, haven't I?
sounds like somebody's
Driving
got some
or-
self-improvement.
Don't worry about when I'm getting home.
I would like to know. So, timeline for those people that don't know you. It's been moving to Australia, settling here, had a child and a wife, and writing jobs. Then you got into stand-up,
Yeah.
and you've been doing that relentlessly for what, 3 years? 3 years?
now.
What's
Just my last birthday was my
do
third
you
year.
have sort of like a clear defined goal, or do you just go, I like this, I'm just going to do as much as I can in this realm?
Oh, like for stand-up?
Yeah.
It's definitely that. It's definitely, I really like it, so why wouldn't I do as much of it as possible?
Yeah.
That's probably like the main one. And then I think in the last like year of, I think seeing lots of different people doing it, you get inspired like in the right way and the wrong way. Like you see some people and you go,
Oh, yeah.
they're smashing
Don't
it.
do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you see people and you go, all right, maybe I'll avoid doing that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So like, I don't know, my goal last year and this year was just to travel and do it and to try and just, I don't know, get better and just get in front of more people, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like that's the main thing. But I like doing stand-up more than anything else.
Right. So is the sort of, as far as
Apart from last night, but yeah.
a vague end game is to be for the majority making your living from writing and performing your own stuff?
Yeah, I suppose.
Or you haven't really...
I don't really think of it.
You don't want to box yourself in, I suppose, really.
Yeah,
what if you go, fuck, I'm going to write a novel one day? You know what I mean? You don't want to...
And there's writing jobs now that I have that I love. And
yeah.
They pay the bills, obviously, but they also, like, I think even if they didn't, I'd still probably do some of them. Like,
Does it feel like your day job, or do you get a kick out of writing?
I love it, yeah.
Do you?
But if
you feel like you got no day job?
Yeah, it feels like I'm unemployed. But if I'm being brutally honest as well, I also am very fueled and fulfilled by the fact that I get to pay my way in the world by doing that.
By doing the thing you like
and not
doing.
having
That's
to do the thing that I used to do.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Dave, do you think then if someone was writing just purely creatively for themselves and they were struggling with that, do you think it would be motivating to them possibly to sort of take on writing in a more financial sense as well? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like if someone
Sort of, yeah, but I don't know how you would.
I guess, yeah, that's true. But I guess if they were to pursue the opportunities in that and open themselves up to, I'm going to make money as a writer doing things that aren't overly fulfilling to me, I guess.
Oh,
but,
sorry. Yeah, no, I see what you mean.
You know, like that's not just all about me. It's not all about my vision and my creativity.
Yeah.
And I'm also writing for someone else's voice. Do you think that can kind of
stifle the creativity
help
themselves?
them, help them with their creativity. And like, you know, now they're forcing themselves. I'm making money off writing. I have to turn up. And then all of a sudden now my fucking creative juices are flowing too because I'm putting the reps in.
I think for some people it works that way 100%. And then for other people it's the exact opposite. And it would just suck all of the life out of it. And so it's impossible to say like, oh, you should definitely do that. I think it depends on who you are. And I don't know how you find that out without doing it. Because I didn't know if like doing this for a job, I didn't know if this was going to be the thing that made me even more excited about it and made me want to just keep fucking pushing on. Obviously, I knew I wanted to make money doing it. Like that's an obvious thing. Who doesn't want to get paid to do that stuff? But I didn't know if that was going to be the end of me, you know, just, for example, just say journaling for myself. Like that's for no one. That is literally that's like doing sit-ups. That's just something that I do every day. So my handwriting doesn't completely go to shit because Aaron, you're going to see it's terrible on that form that I filled out for you. But also just to have just like fucking stupid thoughts that you might not be able to document anywhere else.
And you still do that now? You still journal?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what's the discipline around that? Because I've heard again so many people say keep a gratitude journal. You know, write some of that stuff. And I am coming around to the idea on gratitude. I mean, I did think it was quite wooey, but then I realized it's a reps thing. It's like a neurological thing. Like if you're focusing on negative, you're going to be more negative. If you start to focus just in the reps of like, what is good, but you know, like focus on that, you start to become that person. So how do you journal? Is it any time of day? Is it a certain time of day?
It's any time of day and it's about anything, but
he tells lies about people.
Right.
He said John a while ago. And
I do make some stuff up
there.
There
was some fucking vicious lie about something to do with somebody who was like gave everyone COVID or something like that.
Oh yeah, probably.
What was it? It was some fucking...
Yeah,
it was a
like
blatant lie. You were like, look what I just wrote in my journal.
John can fly.
Yeah, it was just
John has the power of flight.
It was something that he'd done. And he just blamed it on other people.
Yeah,
that's good.
Like
yeah,
that.
no, I like doing that. I like doing that. Because again, it's nonsense. It's not for anyone. I started journaling when I was like 23, I think it was, 22, 23. And I met my grandmother and she had dementia. And I thought, I was about to start traveling
Sorry,
as well.
go back. So you said you met your grandmother at 23?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She wasn't 23. I don't know how old she was, but I was. And I thought... I was about to start traveling. I hadn't really done much travel. I was about to start like leaving and going to like India and South America and stuff. And I was like, how horrible would it be if I do all of that and I've got nothing to show for it? So then I started journaling so that I would remember it. And then I started the blog entries because of that, or the Facebook stuff, then the blog entries. And then when the book came up, I was just like, oh, this would be a great way to never lose a journal. So then I've got like a whole document of life and then I don't have to worry about forgetting it all.
When you say you met your grandmother when you were 23 and that sort of started your journaling, why did meeting your grandmother make you want to start journaling?
Because she had dementia or Alzheimer's, whatever it is. I don't know what the difference is. The thing where you don't remember anything.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And she couldn't...
I just remember looking at her and thinking, like she's got no stories because she doesn't remember any of them.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen to me.
Yeah, what a sieve the mind can be at a certain point.
Yeah, it was just a real selfish thing where I was just like, I don't want to get to the end of it and have nothing. Right. So if I write it all down, someone will have something.
Fuck. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I suppose there's so much video now, but I mean, even that, it's like a journal is so private. It's not for anyone else. So you get a much more honest representation of what they were thinking at that time. But a video, there's always, exactly, except for David Hughes. I'd be putting in like just to throw the cops off, be like, I don't feel safe around Georgia, you know, like just in case I disappeared.
And then I cured HIV.
Yeah.
But you know, at that point though, like there was definitely a crossover where I started writing for like other people. Obviously, when you're writing it online, even if you've got like fucking 4 followers or something, you're still writing it for other people, aren't you? So there was definitely a crossover there where I stopped doing the journal just for me and started going, all right, how do I make this a bit more entertaining, at least for the people who are reading it?
So do you journal today though, just for yourself?
Yeah, now I do it for myself.
You do it for yourself. You're back to it, and like you said, it's something for future you if you lose your fucking mind, or for your kids, for Oscar and stuff like that. Well, why do you journal today? What does it give you?
It's an exercise.
Right, okay. It's like reps, like going to the gym.
It's exactly that. It's just staying in touch with it.
Wow, that's really powerful. I mean, it's good you're sharpening your point of view, aren't you? Which is what you fucking need for stand-up and the creative arts. What do I think about things?
Yeah, but and also if you told yourself you were going to write a page or even just a paragraph of something every day, you do start thinking about the thing that you're going to write about at some point.
Ah, yeah.
So then you're like, what am I going to write? So I'll probably write about this, and I'll make all sorts of shit up to amuse myself, but it will be based around this. And then you just start writing in a different, and other stuff can come from that as well. Do you know what I mean? Like you probably get, I dare think that how many bits would have come out of just writing nonsense that started off as absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But you're writing, so something has to happen.
Wow.
Do you have a favourite writer?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Guy de Maupassant.
Ooh. It's not a thing.
It's not a thing. It's a sound, isn't it?
It's just a funny noise,
like Indian or Sri Lankan or something. What is
It's French.
Oh, I don't like that at all. we can cut this section.
15 minutes of Blake.
What is it? What is it? Guy, say it again.
Guy de Maupassant.
Okay, and what does Guy de Maupassant do besides
did he write
retreat?
that short story?
Yeah.
What does Guy de Maupassant do?
He wrote short. He's dead now.
He's dead.
For a long
Thank
time.
fuck.
Thank God for that.
Was it horrible at least?
Actually, do you know what? If I think one of the more like if I talk about writers who like super influenced everything, it would definitely be Bill Bryson. Definitely Bill Bryson.
Who's Bill Bryson?
He's a travel writer.
Travel writer.
Okay, and what was it about Bill that was just like fuck?
He did exactly as I've just said. Actually, when I think about it, most of his books are more journals than anything else. They're super funny. He has a book called Neither Here Nor There, and like literally reading that book and then watching the Motorcycle Diaries was the thing that made me want to travel. Just those two things alone. But that book, as soon as I read that book, I was like, oh, better leave, better go see stuff. And he's got a book called A Walk in the Woods, which I think they made a film out of.
Yeah, right.
Charlie Sheen or something. No,
I've
not Charlie
tried
Sheen.
with Bill Bryson. I can't do it. I don't know what it is. I can't make it happen. It's like the Rolling Stones. It's like, it must be great because he's selling fucking millions, but I don't get it.
It's interesting.
Do you know what I mean?
Really funny to me. So Walk in the Woods is really funny. And then there's another book called Life and Times of the Thunderbolt Kid, where he talks about growing up in like 50s America. And that's really...
Right.
I mean, anyone who can make you feel... Yeah. Well, he's English-born American.
Right.
And anyone who can make you feel nostalgia for something that you've fucking frame of reference for, I think that's amazing.
That is,
Yeah.
Absolutely. I once read Michael Palin's journals.
Oh, yeah.
I've read some.
You'd think they'd be a fucking riot, wouldn't you?
Very dry.
Fuck.
Very dry.
And then we went out on the heath and we spent the day in the Cotswolds and we had cucumber sandwiches.
Oh, fuck me. Jesus Christ. One of the funniest geezers on earth.
And
inside, he's barren.
Yeah, of course.
Barren.
You mentioned traveling and like, you know, Bill Bryson sort of inspired you to do that. And then you did this period of travel, which has sort of led you here. But I don't know if you want to get into it, but John and I and you, I think, all share sort of a common theme in which we're like not super close with our fathers at all. And it's like, I don't know, is the wanderlust like tied to the fact that you didn't feel at the time that you had a great base? Like, what am I leaving behind anyway?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there was definitely just I know a lot of people do that. Oh, no, I left to find myself. I left so I didn't have to work and do anything for like 4 years.
Yeah.
That was the main thing. I was like,
4 years.
Yeah, I can go to like...
I'm just going to have a gap 4 years.
Yeah, I can go to really poor countries.
Where I'm quite wealthy there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can.
Wow.
I got like the lonely planet for places like South America. I was going for like Bolivia, Peru, seeing how much US dollars they were saying you could live on per day, and then working out how long I could stay away for.
That's well clever.
Yeah, that's basically what my plan was. But if you want to get a little bit deeper, probably I was definitely like running away from England, but then I also didn't really have any attachment to it anyway. Because I think my father's in Ireland because we were born there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like we're all from there.
But he's English?
No, he's Irish as well.
He's Irish, okay.
I think
What
so.
year were you born?
1982.
82. That's Troubles was later, wasn't it?
What
Was it
troubles?
later?
The IRA and stuff.
Yeah. That was 90s, wasn't it? Late
Yeah,
80s.
I think it's like
early
late
90s.
80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was Northern Ireland. We're from the south. All the same, innit?
I don't know. They speak funny, that's all I know. But
But it helps. Sorry, the nomadic thing helps.
Yeah.
If you're not attached to anything, then you don't have to worry about anything. Like some of my friends came with me and they all managed to last for about a month or two.
Right.
You know, they missed their parents, they missed their
and they
homes
all
and stuff.
dropped out,
yeah.
Weak.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
Even the ones that were like, I'm going to go for 3 months. And I was like, are you though? And
Yeah.
then they didn't. You know, they all wanted to be back.
They weren't Googling Bolivia minimum living rates.
How old were you then?
25.
Started at 25.
Yeah.
Wow.
And how long were you traveling for? I know you planned for 4 years. Did you go 4 years?
About 4 years, yeah.
Wow.
And then I got here because I'd pretty much run out of money. And I heard about that working holiday visa thing. So I did that, saved up a bunch of money. And then me and my friend Kevin, he was living in Adelaide, but he's Scottish and we traveled together for a bit as well. Then we went to South America for probably about a year, I think. Then came back and did the other year. And then I was like, oh, actually, I like it here.
Yeah.
And that was it.
There's something about like when I met you through John and when I met John, and I'm not saying this is the only reason. I mean, I'm sure it's a cocktail of reasons, but there's something about men in my life that didn't have great relationships with their dads that I seem to gel with. I don't know what it
Mad
is.
that you ended up in a fighting gym too.
But there's heaps of them.
Yeah.
They're fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
You think it's like, oh, my dad was like a tough, my dad was an arsehole. I didn't like, I don't know what it is, but it's like, there's something about people, men especially, who have sort of reinvented themselves sometimes in spite of what the example was given to them or how it is. But I mean, you're a father now and it's like, fuck, I'm probably going to have kids in the next couple of years. And I'm curious about it as well, as it's like fucking, did it scare you to become a dad when you didn't have a good example? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I can fucking imagine, man. Because it scares me, and I've said to Georgia so many times, because I remember there was a point where she said to me, this was like 18 months ago, it was a fucking long time, it was like early in. She's like, I will, if we got pregnant now, I would keep the kid. And I'm like, oh, we need to talk about that, because just so you know, like I'll do anything to not be my dad, including burning my career to the fucking ground in comedy, acting. I just will not be this bitter dude who blames his kids for his life not being great.
I think that's the best thing was having a blueprint for all of that.
To not what not to do.
But being able to read it as well, because some people get the blueprint and then just go, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's what I did. I started just acting out. I started building the blueprint and then went, oh, this is fucking awful. That's not what I wanted to build. This is you, Dad.
Yeah.
I had to undo it all. So I knocked that down. No.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can find yourself just, I guess, maybe it's the DNA or something, but something about you follows it a bit.
Oh, for sure.
It really does. And
you
it's
have to
hard to pull away from.
Yeah.
I feel like if there's something, and like life is always throwing things at you that you haven't dealt with before, but if there's something that you haven't dealt with before, you will resort to the default setting, which is what you've seen.
Yeah.
And I'll notice it in myself. I'm like, I haven't come across this problem yet, so I'm doing what Dad does. And like, I'll just notice it and I'll be like, okay, time to think about consciously what the right thing is to do with this. But and that's normal. I think it's human. It's like if you don't, if you haven't come across this problem yet, you're just going to go off what you've been shown.
I don't know what Dad would have done though.
Right, okay.
So that part's always been confusing to me because I'm like, is this it? Is this the thing that he would have done?
Yeah.
Sure. So do you model?
Didn't your dad bail though?
Yeah, very early.
Yeah.
How old were you?
Sticking around is the opposite thing of
basically,
that, which is...
And that's the thing, like I've had a real issue, if I'm being like, if we're going to get brutally honest, I've had a real issue the last few years when Oscar got to that age. And I was like, oh, he's at that age that I was when mine left. Is there going to be this little trigger thing? Is something going to happen? And I'm going to go to like self-destruct mode and
something.
Yeah.
And none of that came up, I presume?
I presume so too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've stuck around, didn't you?
Yeah.
Have you ever felt, I always felt with my dad that we were actually fucking great until I sort of hit teenage years.
Okay.
Because he had me when he was 19 and I think, I mean, he's fucking yelled at me a few times. He's like, you know, I was going to be a star. I'm like, Dad, you had nothing going for your son. Like, you know, it wasn't like, you know, like you had all these potential.
I've seen a picture of his dad with a breast pump. Anytime I hear anything like that.
He did have nice breasts. I'll give him that. He could have actually had a very successful OnlyFans had I not ruined it with me birth. But
was he referring to acting or like, what was he?
David, that's anyone's guess. There was that's what I'm saying. There was no irons in the fire. There was no...
I was going to be huge.
I was going to be massive. So, yeah, exactly. Give me an example what you could have done.
It wasn't Brando saying he could have been a contender.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that.
And I'm like, in what though? He's like, I would have figured it out. Because David Hughes said if you put the reps into something, eventually you become it. But I felt like when I became a teenager, like when I started to hit like 16 or whatever, and I don't know, started to transition more, sort of you slowly starting to become a man, the things that would usually make a father proud, I think kind of made him angry.
Okay.
And that's just my armchair psychology. It's things that I would think that a father's like, oh, that's great. You know, like you're getting interested in girls and girls getting interested in you. Like that's awesome. And it just seemed like it was like,
like jealous.
Yeah, it showed a mirror to him of all the things that he, in his mind, the story he's telling himself he missed out on, you know, because I got fucking, you know, I knocked up your mom and blah, blah, blah and all this stuff. And I mean, he's yelled it in like, you know, in fights in the past, but it's like, were you worried that you were going to have that? Like you see Oscar having a dad at fucking 5 or 6, you're like, you little prick.
I mean, there's a part of me that worries still about, because you want your kid to have everything. You want to give him everything, but then you don't want to create a little shit.
Yeah.
But then the opposite of that is what I had. And then I don't want him to even come close to that. So you're like, well, there has to be a middle ground there somewhere. And you're always like trying to find it.
It's almost like you want them to have anything, but you don't want them to know that they have everything.
No, that's kind of it. Yeah, that's kind of it.
You know what I mean? It's like,
because he'll complain.
There's a safety net here, but I don't want you to know that.
Yeah.
He'll complain about stuff sometimes. And then I have to kind of like go and just bite my tongue, because I'm like, the thing that you're complaining about is insane to me.
Stupid. Yeah.
Like, or like 7-year-old me especially would be like,
that's one of the things that's really difficult, I think, in the whole parenting thing. And I suppose you wouldn't see it if your old man was absent. You will see it when you have children, because it will be something that you'll have to keep yourself from doing, is doing that default thing. I've noticed my jaw becoming tight when I'm angry in one of those frustrating parenting moments.
Because your dad spoke through his teeth.
Always, when he was angry. And I can hear myself about to speak in that same way.
Yeah.
And all right, let's slow down.
And then you end up opening the mouth. I would like you to clean your room.
That is interesting, because my mother never spoke to me.
What do you
she
mean?
never talked. She never said anything to me. I was probably how you and your dad were. That's how my mother was with me.
At what age did you leave your mum's place? Because you ran away from home,
when I was about 14.
Your mum at the time was... Are we all right talking about this?
Yeah, you're fine.
Your mum at the time was cycling through several dickhead boyfriends?
Yeah.
Over the course of...
I don't know, for as long as I could remember.
Yeah.
Basically since like my dad left, I guess.
And what, she just didn't check in at all?
No, she
paid
was
no
like...
attention.
Yeah, she would just...
You were kind of furniture in there.
Pretty much. She would just leave for like weeks on end and then...
Fuck, definitely don't watch This Is England.
Were you an only child as well?
No, I had a sister, but she was 4 years older than me. So by the time I was like 14 and I basically left when she left, but I ran away. She went to join the Air Force.
Wow.
Because it was just like, it was a very, very dangerous environment, and it got worse and worse like as we got older. So I was just like, well...
This because of the fellas?
Yeah, mostly. It was like, stay here and probably like die at some point or starve when they like because there was long periods where like no one was around. You're like, I don't really know what to do. I don't know how to cook anything. There is nothing to cook. There is no money. So like staying here is literally just staying here because it's warm sometimes, but people can come through that door at like any point. So I might as well just not be.
And these are the thoughts you're having at fucking 14, 13, 14.
Yeah, it's well too young.
Did you have any
drugs? Was drugs in the house?
I don't know. But I think I didn't really have much of a reference for drugs at all, but like retrospectively,
presumably, unless
when I think back, I'm like, oh, absolutely, like she was using everything.
That's what I mean. Like that's what, because that sort of stuff can really kill a maternal instinct, can't it?
I think it's
drug habits can really pull a person away from their values or anything that's supposed to be important to them. That can happen to anyone.
Yeah.
You get yourself fucking wound up in patterns of craving and lots of shit can go by the wayside.
Did you have anyone like an uncle or anyone like an adult figure in your life that was like some model of normal behavior?
No. The thing that used to scare the hell out of me was thinking about how if I ever got out of this, how do you ever make enough money to like pay rent and buy food and do all of those? Like that used to blow my mind. Yeah. People go on holidays. I used to think that if you went on holiday, it meant you didn't have to pay the rent in your flat when you weren't there.
It was the only way you could conceive that was
possible.
Like,
how else do you fucking do it then? Yeah. And then I found out that's not the case.
No, that's a fucking brutal realization, isn't it? To not know that and then find that out. But then it's like when I figured out what tax was. So I was fucking 8 years deep in it.
What? This was only recently. Every year.
Why do you get any of it? I earned it all. Why do you get it?
Yeah, exactly.
So you run away, but like, how do you become you then? Who do you model your behavior of? Who do you meet? Who do you come across that's like a mentor or someone that fucking kind of shows you the way?
I had good friends, but they were like my age, but like I don't really have anyone older than me. Basketball coaches. I had a really good basketball coach that he was, I don't know, he was just like just a normal fucking person. I was like, all right, there we go. And then I saw like people like Billy Connolly, like you'd see him and then you find out that he's been through all that sort of stuff too. And he's really funny and happy. So seeing stuff like that was always like, you can do it.
Holy shit.
Do you channel people like that? Like, what would they do? Like, I'd still do that to this day. I've done it my whole life long. And I still do it with Billy to this day. I go, how would Billy think about it?
I don't really do it now. I don't really do it now.
Don't you?
I used to do it a lot,
to get you through. You say it to me sometimes. Let's be Billy.
Because if you're taking yourself too seriously, there's nobody better than somebody like Billy to untangle you shit. Because you quite a lot of problems come from taking ourselves too seriously. We've got our head up against our own head, like it gets too serious.
Yeah,
just relax.
Yeah. Wow, that's fucking awesome. So when do you meet your wife? 29?
Probably after this. I met her on.
Fuck off. If you could go back, and if there's anyone like listening that's sort of been through a similar thing, or they're writing and just struggling with that, if you could go back to like a young you, 16 or some shit, what would you fucking tell them? Would there be?
It's so cheesy because I've heard other people say it, and I always hate when people do this. But I think I saw Ian McKellen say it: "Is that this too shall pass." Yeah. That was like the best fucking thing ever.
No, that was "You shall not pass."
Less inspiring, but very fun.
I've not seen those films. But then also, I remember, and this was when I was traveling. I did the whole funky drink, the ayahuasca, and the shaman said about just feeling depressed, and he was like, "It's not permanent, and if you expect to always be sad." And it's a ridiculous thing to expect always to be sad. It's a ridiculous thing to expect to always be happy because you don't deserve either of them. You're just going to go through them. And I was like, oh, that's quite good, actually. That's probably the one that's rattled around in my head every fucking day since somebody said that to me.
Yeah, knowing it's always going to shift is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same sentiment, of course, but yeah, exactly that. One is from Lord of the Rings and then the other is from a shaman in Peru.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Who came out with Lord of the Rings long before Tolkien.
But yeah,
that court case is ongoing.
I think that's a really important thing to like for people to know.
That's lovely, man. I fucking love it. This too shall pass. This podcast shall pass too. David Hughes, ladies and gentlemen. Look him up on the social medias.
Don't Google the horse wanking stuff though. You don't want to see that.
Don't Google it.
No.
It's vicious.
Don't want that.
Vicious ejaculation.
That court case is ongoing. No.
Roll that music, Papa.
Roll that music, Papa.
Kings. Vagabonds. sing some Vagabonds. Vagabonds.